It is the one Thanksgiving dish that divides tables. Some love it, some avoid it at all costs, and others, I think they just bring it out of tradition. But love it or hate it, and I'm definitely on team hate it, cranberry sauce is always there, sitting proudly on the Thanksgiving spread. But have you ever stopped to ask why? Because it's not just some random side dish. This red wobbly gel has a history, and it's a history full of innovation, survival, and one man's mission to save the cranberry. Cranberries were around long before Thanksgiving was a thing. I mean, obviously. But we think the Native Americans were the first to really utilize cranberries, and not just as food, but as a natural dye and medicine. And it's believed that one of the first foods cranberries were used in was called pemmican, kind of this like high energy travel food that's a mixture of cranberries, fat, and dried meat. I think of it kind of like as the ancient trail mix, like something you would grab and go. But cranberries weren't farmed until much later. Around the 18th century, people started to figure out like, okay, yeah, we could cultivate these bad boys, but even then it wasn't easy because cranberry vines are incredibly finicky. They need to be grown in wetlands because they need so much water, and they need a very cold winter so that they go dormant part of the season. And one thing I think people often get confused is no, cranberries are not grown in water. I feel like those ocean spray commercials really got people confused that cranberries grow in a bog, but they just use a lot of water. They don't grow in water, and then we flood the bog to actually just make harvesting easier. Because of how picky these cranberry plants are, in the US, they're really only cultivated in Wisconsin, shout out to my home state, and Maine. Even with the perfect environment, cranberry farming, it was a tough business. It was small, local, and far from thriving. Then came Marcus Urann. Now I know Urann kind of sounds like urine, so I'm really going to try to enunciate his last name. But Urann, he was not a farmer. He wasn't even in the food business. This guy, he was a lawyer from Maine that, for still reasons kind of unknown, decided to ditch his successful law career and get into cranberry farming. When asked about it, Urann gave a response that honestly feels like straight out of a Thanksgiving speech. I felt I could do something for New England. You know, everything in life is what you do for others. But this wasn't just a sentimental decision. Urann saw a problem with cranberry farming. The fresh berries, they were only good for about 6 weeks, has a 6-week shelf life, which meant during these 6 weeks, every single farmer is trying to harvest and sell all of their crop at once, which means the market is flooded with these cranberries. Prices plummet as neighbors try to undercut their neighbors and get rid of their cranberries before they spoil. Urann knew that the industry needed some type of product that could extend the shelf life of the fresh cranberries. They needed some innovation that could change this, seasonal fruit to a year-round staple. At first, he experimented with cranberry juice, and in 1933, Urann released a cranberry cocktail, but not cocktail in like the alcoholic sense, cocktail meaning it was a mixture of juices, one obviously including cranberry juice, but other juices as well. Although Urann did dabble with ingredients for alcoholic beverages next, and in 1939 he invented his cranberry syrup, which was meant to be used in a mixed alcoholic beverage. But his crowning achievement, that jellied cranberry sauce, or what you know as that red log on the Thanksgiving table, this was not invented until 1941. This was an absolute game changer. By canning the cranberries, Urann not only preserved them, but made them into a product that could sit on the shelf for months and months without going bad. But why is cranberry sauce so tightly linked to Thanksgiving and fall? Well, here you have to do some guesswork or inferencing, and people think it's simply because historically, cranberries are harvested during fall, so there's a ton of cranberries and you're making cranberry sauce with this, fresh berries, that it just got linked to this holiday that's sort of like associated with autumn's bounty. So how does cranberry sauce get its signature jiggle? Because you'll notice if you look at the ingredient statement, it's really only cranberries and sugar. The secret is a molecule called pectin, which is naturally found in cranberries. Pectin is a carbohydrate. It's this molecule that helps give fruit their structure. And pectin, it's actually found in the plant cell wall, so it's in any plant, which includes cranberries. And what happens is that when we cook or boil these cranberries, they burst open and some of the structure is ruined, and this releases pectin. And when these molecules are free in the sauce, they actually start to form a network. They sort of link up with one another, all these different pectin molecules, and eventually the pectin entraps all the water and sugar. It goes from being a liquid to being a gel. And this network becomes so strong, this pectin network, that eventually it can hold the shape of that can. Thanks to Marcus Urann, cranberry sauce is more than just a side dish. It was a lifeline for farmers, a crucial breakthrough in food preservation, and of course, now a staple on our Thanksgiving table. Even though by far cranberry sauce is not my favorite, I do really admire the innovation behind it. And so at least this year when I see that like jiggly red log on the Thanksgiving table, I can admire, the journey it went on to get there. If you enjoyed this video, next I would check out my video where I break down the science behind pairing foods.